Hello and welcome once again to another Marty's Matchbox Makeovers video. Today I am revisiting a model that I never got round to finishing. It's a number 24 shunter. I started it about 12 months ago but could not finish it because I was unable to source a decal for this model. This was one of my early models and I was still experimenting with and trying out new methods, and on this particular model I secured the base with some 2-part epoxy resin. So regarding the decals, I looked at all my usual sources but could not find anyone that was selling decals for this model. Therefore I put it on the back burner and intended to finish it one day. Well, that day is today. In this video I'm going to give you some instructions as to how I create my own water slide decals. First of all, I have to source an image of a similar vehicle online. As you can see, there is no shortage of images of this model, and it's interesting to note that it also came out in green. When I found a clear picture of the decal that I'm after, I copy the screen to the clipboard by pressing Shift and Print Screen. And I then open up PaintShop Pro and paste it as a new image. The image is quite big because I've got two screens. It copied both of them. But I'm only interested in this bit here. So using the crop tool, I just drag a rectangle over the part I want and cut it, and then paste as a new image. And here it is here. Now it's a little bit crooked, which annoys me, so I'm going to rotate it anti-clockwise half a degree at a time until I think it's just about horizontal. Well, that looks quite good to me. Now I trim it again, more accurately this time. Once again, I cut it and paste the new one as a new image. Now I'm nearly there as to where I want to be. But at the moment there's a couple of little edges here on the corners and along the edge that require filling in because they're showing the model colour. I want them to be red. So I use the picker tool to pick the red background, and then I draw rectangles of that colour around the edges to clean the image up a little bit. Just like that. Okay, now I'm going to save it, and I'm naming it decal number 1. I'm going to do a test print of this now to see whether it's the right size. When it's at 100% size, it's huge. So by trial and error, I find out that if I scale it to number 5, it's just the right size. I don't want it in the centre of the sheet of paper because that's just a waste of paper. So I change the margins to 0, and it is now depicted up in the top left hand corner of the page. So I'm going to print that out and see if it's the right size. So looking at it here, this is printed on plain paper, so it's not high resolution. But this is just a test print, and I'm going to do a test fit onto the model and see if the 5% scale is correct. Wow, well, it's pretty close, and I think it's going to look quite good. I'm happy with that. I used the image on the computer just to double check how long this sticker needs to be. And looking at the image, I think I'm going to have to trim it down just slightly on the ends. So now that I'm happy with the quality of the decal that I've made, I'm going to duplicate it multiple times using copy and paste, and I'm going to print it out on some water slide transfer paper which I bought on eBay. I'm not going to make too many of these because I only actually need 2 or maybe 3, one as a spare, but I do like to make more than I need, and that way I can put them into stock, and maybe in the future if I need them again I've got them, or maybe someone will see a video, maybe this video, and they might want to buy some off me, who knows. So I'll squeeze one more on the end there, and now I can duplicate the whole lot in one hit. Again, copy and paste as new selection. Now I think I've got enough to be going on with there, so I'm going to print them out. There's 2 types of this water transfer paper. I'm going to be using white backed, but it also comes in a clear backed. Here's some decals I made earlier for the fire chief's car. So this is the inkjet clear, it's marked on the back of it, but this stuff I got on eBay, it's got no markings on it, so I've had to write it on the packaging. This is the white backed transfer paper that I'm going to be using today. Now you can see one side is very highly glossy, that's the side you print on, and the other side is plainly matte. So when you load it into the printer, in this particular model of printer you have to be mindful to turn it over so the side that you're printing on is facing down. And because it's glossy, you want to select the setting on your printer for premium glossy paper and set it for photo quality print, and it should come out extremely high definition like this. I hope you can see that. They look perfect, very crisp edges. Now before you can use them you have to coat them with varnish. So first off I cut them with my guillotine. And then using some masking tape I secure them to a spare piece of card, because I'm going to spray these with some clear varnish, and that will prevent the ink from bleeding once they are immersed into water prior to using them. The reason I put a little piece in the middle there is because I'm going to be using a pressure pack, a can of varnish, and I'm sticking these down so they don't flap and fly away when I'm spraying them. Now that they're secured to the cardboard, I can spray them. Important to use ventilation, especially when you're spraying this varnish. It's very potent stuff. I'm using Mr. Hobby clear gloss top coat for these. I found it works well. And you don't want to be too heavy, just a couple of light coats is all you need. If you put too much on, again, you can make the ink run. So it's a little bit of trial and error here if you're going to do this yourself at home. So once that's done, I just leave them to dry for like 12 hours. I have used a hairdryer in the past to speed things up, but if you've got the time to spare, you're probably better off just letting them dry naturally. Once they are completely dry, you can remove them from the card and start cutting them up. Now, first thing I notice is here, I must have touched them when I took them out of the printer, and I've just taken off a little bit of ink on that sticker. And this one here has got an imperfection on it, some little white dots. So those 2 are going in the bin, because you go to all this bother and you don't want anything that's substandard. So these 2 look nice. I think they're going to do a fantastic job. So the extra ones I just cut off in pairs. I'm going to keep these for later. There's one I've noticed again. It's another faulty one. See, there's 3 dots on there. So I chuck that one away. And then I've got these little bags. I don't know what you call them. I call them deal bags. And I put the extra transfers that I've made in there for storage and to use later. Now, cutting these out, I'm cutting them very, very accurately. And I'm trying to overlap the scissors over the red background slightly, because you don't want a white border. Now the way these decals work is you immerse them in water and the backing paper separates and you're left with the printed front layer to place on the model. When the rear backing paper separates, then it leaves some gum on the rear of the sticker, and that's how it sticks to the model. And it's a good idea just to add a little bit of water to the model prior to adding the sticker to the model. That way it gives you a little bit more time to position it, because sometimes they stick instantly if there's not enough moisture around. So this was my first attempt, and like I said, if you're going to do this, always print extras, because this one here, the corner folded under itself at the end, and it had gone too far that I couldn't turn back the clock, so I had to remove it and try again. And this is the beauty of making your own transfers at home. You can have as many as you want. And like before now, I've ordered them and waited 2-3 weeks for them to arrive, and then wrecked one and had to order them again. It sets you back a month. So that's one side done, now the other. Quite easy, just position it and drag the backing sheet out using a little pair of tweezers there. Now when they did these in the factory, the women must have been really rushed, because a lot of them are on crooked. And so I like to get them as accurate as possible, but sometimes they go on a little bit crooked. And it's not such a bad thing, because we are trying to recreate an authentic model. So this is what it looks like now. So now, after 12 months, this model has finally been finished. This little engine looks so clean and new and smart that all the other dirty old engines have given him a nickname. They all call him the smartest little shunt they know. He's so happy to be amongst his friends again, in the shunting yards. Thank you all for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the show, and I'm intending to do some more tutorials in the near future. So until then, goodbye. Come on, I am so f***ing useless at doing anything. I can't even open up a stupid little Ziploc bag with my fat fingers. It's embarrassing.